We have been seeing in the news discussions of monuments. To keep them, to tear them down, modify them, append them, add on clarification, but there's certain confusion revolving around these monuments. So keep that in mind as we go through this message today. The title of my message this morning is Temporary Monuments.
Come on.
Temporary monuments. Lord, I ask that you would speak. Convict us. Clarify my words, Lord. Allow them to see nothing but your truth lifted and glorified. Jesus Christ's name, it's all said. Amen. Amen. In 1905, in Memphis, Tennessee, about 30 or so years after the Civil War ended, Memphis had been undergoing a certain demographic shift. They noticed and recognized that no longer was there a beautiful city, a city that was driven through the economic machinery of slavery, the importation, the exportation, and the shipping down the river of slaves, and the moving up the river slaves, and receiving and selling bales of cotton. No longer was that engine there to help move the city forward. In 1905, they experienced what many cities in America experienced, but on a greater scale. They experienced white flight. As slaves began to find places where they could congregate and live, they were drawn to Memphis, Tennessee. And so the Memphians who remained behind, the wealthy ones, were growing concerned because there was unrest in the city. And so they decided that they were going to do something to remember the glory days. They were going to do something that would stand as a permanent reminder for everyone to see that which they want to uphold. And so in 1905, the prominent Memphians, they went to the graveyard and they exhumed the body out of Elmwood Cemetery of Nathan Bedford Forbes.
My Lord.
One of the greatest generals, commanders, if you will, in the Confederate Army. They took his body up out of the grave and moved him to the city center. Him and his wife, and they buried him there. And they erected a monument there of a man and a soldier. They didn't want him looking towards the south because they said that would symbolize, oh, he retreated, but he never retreated. He only turned it one time. And so it was in this season of change and turmoil, of unrest and distrust, that they decided that they were going to put up for everyone to see all the time this statue here. The African Americans then were not happy with their current situation because they were being lynched systematically.
That's right.
Ida B. Wells.
Yes.
There's a librarian named after her at Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. Ida B. Wells began to write in a newspaper, galvanizing her people, trying to get them to come together to effect a certain sort of change in the city.
Come on now.
All because her friend, Thomas Moss, was improperly imprisoned.
Come on now.
He was imprisoned over a children's game of marbles that was being played in the front of the store. The children began to argue, and all of a sudden adults got involved and it got heated, and Thomas Moss found himself in jail unjustly. And so Miss Wells begins to write. People begin to get upset, and then something strange happens. Mr. Moss is spirited away in the middle of the night.
My Lord.
And they wake up to find him hanging from the tree. And so Miss Wells begins to write.
Yeah.
She writes, inciting the people to come together now to effect change. Because something is not right.
My Lord.
Miss Wells begins to get a lot of hate mail. She begins to get threats from everywhere. They became so bad that she had to leave Memphis.
Yes.
And when she left Memphis, they burned down the newspaper behind her.
My Lord. Come on now.
It was in this season that this statue was erected. Those who ran her out of town were victorious. They felt victorious. And so when they raised the money for this statue now, they raised the money, a community service project, if you will. They raised the money to build this statue, to move the bodies from a grave down the road, to put it in the center of the city. And so they raised an additional amount of money so that they could put a skating rink near the statue, so that their children could play in the shadow of this great man. This great man was a former wizard. The Klan.
Well.
This great man, on the day when they dedicated the statue, they said all the pretty things about him, but they did not mention that he slaughtered, he executed, commanded thousands of soldiers who wanted to surrender. He commanded that they be executed. They were mostly African Americans. This great man, whom they raised money to put in the center of town, and they put a skating rink around them so that the children can skate there. This great man, they were uplifting this great man. They did this statue in the season where this novel or talking about the Klan and the heroism of their men was flying off the shelves.
Come on now.
There's a back and forth going on about statues, if we should keep them, if we should take them down, if we should add plaques to them. People have lost their lives over this argument. I was listening to a podcast called The Memory Palace, and I heard this story. And the creator of the podcast, he submits a plaque for all the statues. He does not advocate removing them. He just advocates adding a big plaque, a plaque that you cannot miss. And it should read, "The men who fought and died for the Confederate army, whatever the personal reasons, whatever was in their heart, did so on behalf of a government formed on the express purpose of ensuring that men and women and children could be bought, sold, and destroyed at will."
My Lord.
Period.
My Lord. My Lord. Come on now.
This is what should be added to all plaques. We must understand that statues represent what people value most. Statues are erected to educate, to intimidate, and to remind those who come into the gaze of the statue of their context, of their relationship to society, of their condition and where they fit in the world. Daniel chapter 2 tells us of a statue.
Come on now.
This young king Nebuchadnezzar had conquered his territory in a marvelous feat. In his second year of his reign, he had a dream that troubled him, and so he called all his wise men and advisors to him, seeking clarity. He said, I need you guys to tell me my dream, and if you don't tell me my dream, I know that you're hustlers and you're just trying to take my money and you're going to be killed.
Come on now.
And so hustlers do what hustlers do best. They say, King, what you talking about? King, oh king.
Yeah.
How can we know what's in your mind?
Right.
And the king reminds them, you are wise men in communication with our gods. You should be able to tell me what the gods have shown me without me telling you.
Come on.
The decree went out. The Bible tells us that the Chaldeans said no one on earth can make known the king request. Consequently, no king, however great and powerful, has ever asked anything like this of any divine priest, medium or Chaldean. What the king is asking is so difficult that no one can make it known to him except the gods, whose dwelling is not with mortals. Because of this, the king became violently angry and gave orders to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. The decree was issued that the wise men were to be executed, and they searched for Daniel and his friends to execute them. When Daniel heard about this situation, he said to Arioch, please tell us what the situation is. Man, give us some time so that we might be able to seek our Lord to provide an answer. We're talking about temporary monuments. So Arioch gives him that time, and Daniel goes back to his house, and he told his friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah about the matter, urging them to ask the God of heaven for mercy concerning this mystery, so Daniel and his friends would not be killed with the rest of Babylon's wise men. When we are in trouble, go seek the Lord. Get your friends around and seek the Lord.
Yes, yes.
Daniel prays. God answers. Dropping on down to verse 31, what we read earlier, we read that Daniel reveals to the king his dream, and the king is first, he's flattered by the fact that there's a statue that represents him at the top. There's a statue that symbolizes that he is chief of the whole world and that nobody can take him down until the appointed time. But,
Come on.
although we heard that, although we understood that his gods weren't really about anything and they couldn't inform him of his future, and although he promotes Daniel and his friends to high levels of government because they're the only wise men in his territory who are authentic,
Come on now.
he does a strange thing in the next chapter. In the face of the move of God, this king, who saw that Daniel and his friends were better than all of his, this king who had a dream told to him without sharing it with anybody, this same king now seeks to set up a monument.
My Lord, my Lord. Come on now.
Chapter 3 tells us King Nebuchadnezzar made a gold statue, 90 feet high and 9 feet wide. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to assemble the satraps, prefects, governors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the rulers of the provinces to attend the dedication of the statue King Nebuchadnezzar set up. So everybody came from far and wide. We know that the story goes that the king says, then you hear the music, bow down. When they hear the music, pay homage to this statue that I've set up in my honor now. He made sure that that statue was all gold. He didn't want any silver. He didn't want any brass. He didn't want any iron. He didn't want any feet of iron and clay. It was all gold, symbolic that he was going to reign forever, and that God's prophecy informing him that the Medes and the Persians are going to come and take him out is not coming to pass.
Come on now.
Temporary monuments.
Temporary. Come on now.
Come on now.
And so we read that the horn sound, the flute, and the zither and the lyre, they had a high worship service.
Come on now.
Praise team was on 10. Everybody was in the spirit on the King's Day. And when that music was playing, everybody bowed down except for a few
Come on now.
wise men.
Come on now. Come on.
Yes.
So we see that the king is informed by the Chaldeans who were saved by those few wise men standing up. When and tattled.
My,
They
my.
told the king, these people are being disrespectful and they're not supporting your kingdom and your rule. What should you do? The king says, we're going to throw them in the fire.
My Lord.
And so we read in verse 13, in a furious rage, King Nebuchadnezzar gave orders to bring in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they were brought before the king, and the king said, are you going to bow down? Are you going to do what you're supposed to do? Look at all I've done for you. You got to owe you. Don't forget what I've done for you now. You owe me.
Come on, come on.
Well,
Drop down to verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to give you an answer to this question. If the God we serve exists, then he can rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire.
yes, sir.
And he can rescue us from the power of you, the king. But even if he does not rescue us, we want you as king to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you set up.
That's right.
Nebuchadnezzar was filled with rage, and the expression on his face changed towards Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He gave orders to heat the furnace 7 times hotter. He commanded that some of the strongest soldiers in his army tie him up and throw him in. The men in their trousers, robes, head coverings, and all of the clothes were tied up and thrown into the fire. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace was so hot that the raging flames killed those who threw them in immediately. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell, bound into the blazing fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar jumped up and alarmed and said, didn't we just throw away 3
Well,
temporary monuments?
come on now.
Nebuchadnezzar now, he said, the Chaldean says, king, yeah, you're right. We threw in 3. Look, the soldiers are dead on the outside. He exclaimed, look, I see 4 men, not tied, walking around in the fire, unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Temporary monuments.
Wow.
King Nebuchadnezzar had never before seen a God, so how would he know? He never heard a word from God. How would he know? King Nebuchadnezzar now threw the men of God in the fire, but yet he's saying that the men of God, their God's in there with them.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Temporary monuments. People have a history of setting up monuments for things that they want to keep in the forefront of history.
My, my.
People have a history of doing foolish things despite what God has already ordained.
My Lord.
People have a history of working against the Lord and failing. Temporary monuments. Nebuchadnezzar now. Let's look at this, the practicalities of the situation. 3 go in. The people who threw them in are dead. King Nebuchadnezzar is walking closer to the fire in all of his kingly garb. Yet King Nebuchadnezzar goes up to the fire.
Come on now.
Grace. Verse 26, Nebuchadnezzar then approached the door. Don't believe me. Check the preacher. Daniel 3, verse 26. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the door of the furnace of the blazing fire. Who else approached the door?
Well,
Them 3 boys who's in the fire with that 4th guy?
Yeah.
The people who threw them in the fire are standing by the door, dead.
Yeah.
well,
King Nebuchadnezzar approaches the door, but he doesn't fall.
Come on. Preach on it.
King Nebuchadnezzar, the man who's working against God, the man who got a prophecy from God, God showed him a vision. God put it in his mind about what he would do. But yet, this same man disrespected God. He says, you know what? Thank you for that word. Thank you for the heads up on how things are going to go, but let me show you how I'm going to handle this. So he sets up a golden statue stating, no matter who you send, I'm going to reign forever. No matter how many armies come through, I will not submit. No matter what you do, I am king, all powerful, and all the world is mine. That's why that statue was gold from head to tippy.
Come on. Come on.
Temporary monuments.
my Lord.
So the king walks up to the furnace, and the grace of God now covers him.
Yes, sir.
So he's not killed immediately.
Yeah.
God saves sinners so that he can save sinners. God saves sinners in the midst of their sin so that they can understand that God wants to deliver them out of their sin. God wants to take you from the fire that you put yourself in. He wants to melt for you to understand that he is in control.
Yeah.
Temporary monuments.
Yeah. Come on now.
Amen.
That's good.
Look what people do. Never just it goes up. Even in the field of heat, his gold chain's not melting. There's no smoke in his robes.
My Lord.
He's just like the ones in the flames.
Come on.
If he was bold enough, if he had actually considered his current situation and his proximity to the fire and noticed that he had passed the people who were dead who put them in there in the first place, he would have been bold enough to walk in the flames. But because he was working against the Lord, he didn't want to tread on his grace and mercy as he was staying on the outside.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Temporary monuments. Nevertheless leaning in. Eyeballs ain't burned off. He still got eyebrows. And he's looking at them. And he says, oh, praise the Lord. Praise the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angels and rescued his servants who trusted in him. They violated the king's command. Why are you talking about yourself in the third person? They violated my commands. And they're still alive. Praise the Lord, the king of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yes, sir.
Come on, preacher.
He sent his angel and rescued his servants who trusted in him.
My Lord.
Therefore, I issue a decree that any one of my people, any people, nation, or language who says anything offensive to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be torn from limb to limb, and his house made a garbage dump. For there is no other God who is able to deliver like this.
Say that.
That's right.
Nobody can do it like this.
That's right. That's right. Come on, now.
Then the king rewarded Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Let's take a step back. In that vision that the king saw, he saw a monument. In that monument, Daniel told the king, look, in verse 41 of chapter 2, you saw the feet and toes, partly of a potter's fine clay, and partly of iron. It will be a divided kingdom, though some of strength and iron will be in it. You saw the iron mixed with clay, and the toes of the feet were part iron and part fine clay. Part of the kingdom will be strong and part will be brittle. You saw the iron mixed with clay. The people will mix with one another but will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with fine clay. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, and his kingdom will not be left to another people. It will crush all these kingdoms and bring them to an end, but will itself endure forever. You saw a stone break off from the mountain without a hand touching it, and it crushed the iron, the bronze, fire clay, silver, and gold. He leaves the chief for last.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The great God has told the king what will happen in the future. The dream is true, and its interpretation certain. Temporary monuments. We see what King Nebuchadnezzar did, but we as humans do not learn from history. Look at what we've done.
My Lord.
The Bible tells us that man will seek to change times and laws.
That's right.
When God created this world, he set up a monument, a statue in time that will persist and exist in perpetuity forever.
Come on now.
He stepped out into nothing and he spoke something into existence from nothing with no assistance, all by himself, preceding his words, punctuating his words, and making sure that we're all looking good like we are right now and running perfectly fine. On the seventh day,
Yes, sir.
he created the Sabbath. He blessed it, sanctified it, made it holy. He didn't do that with any other day or any other thing. He set that up. Just like he set up the sun and the sky and it has not changed, how can the Sabbath change? Just like he threw the moon up and told it, catch some of the light from your big brother, how can the Sabbath change? Just like gravity is consistent, how can the Sabbath change? Man, we resurrect, we erect temporary monuments.
Come on now.
But they're always is falling. They need maintenance from us.
Yeah.
But when God sets up a monument,
Yes, sir.
it requires no assistance. Pastor, what are you talking about? Everybody knows that the Sabbath is a Sabbath. What's so special about that? God rested on that day, and he commanded us to rest on that day. That's why he affirmed and confirmed and reaffirmed his monument in time with the 10 Commandments that everyone knows. Everyone's trying to work out and believe, with the exception of the middle one, number 4. It's the only one that says remember. Tell your friends.
Amen. Amen.
That everything else you can forget, but don't forget that one. Remember. Pastor, don't you know that Saturday ain't the Sabbath? Don't you know that the sun is still there? How can a man change it? Man, Pastor, I hear you, but what you talking about? Well, let me tell you. The mother church, if you will, the Catholic Church, if you Google this, let's Google it. The Roman Catholic Church cites the Council of Laodicea as the official voice which transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday.
That's right.
Note the language of the catechism. The Roman Catholic Church cites the Council of Laodicea as the official voice which transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Solemnity means holy. So men are moving monuments.
Come on.
All right. Come on, preacher.
Come on now.
The last man I saw who moved the monument, he walked up to the fire and didn't get burned.
Come on now.
The last man I saw who made a monument, trying to go against what was ordained and revealed to him as a favor, had to bow down and praise the man who gave him that information and respect the fact that he had no power. But yet that same man forgot all things and began just to glorify himself and began to act like a donkey living out in the field, eating all kind of grass.
What's up?
Temporary monuments. Man cannot move a monument that's been erected in eternity. Eternity is a foundation that cannot be modified or nullified or transferred or modified. It's impossible. But yet, they said, in a catechism, it will say, question, which is the Sabbath day? Answer, Saturday is the Sabbath day. Question, why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? Answer, we observe Sunday instead of Saturday because the Catholic Church in the Council of Laodicea, AD 336, transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Reverend Peter Gearman, CSSR, The Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, page 50, second edition, 1910. Temporary monuments, Sundays temporary.
Well,
To the wind. When the Lord steps out and it seeks to come back, everything will burn, pass away, will be consumed in fire. Calendars will be. Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays will be, but a Sabbath never will. Saturdays will be, but a Saturdays never will. Temporary monuments are always things that are going to lead to man's destruction. I noted in the news that Trump is concerned about getting together a National Day of Prayer, a Sunday National Day of Prayer, but yet he sounds like King Nebuchadnezzar smoking his own stuff, buying his own product.
Wow.
Seeking to erect a monument, only to be woken up in the middle of the night, realizing that he did that thing in error, but finds himself too far gone. Temporary monuments. We, as Seventh-day Adventists now, we can't roll around the world telling everybody that this day is that day. We have to be wiser than that.
Yes, yes.
we must let God go ahead of us and plant a mustard seed-sized question in somebody's mind. And so when that thing begins to take root, it shatters the monument that they try to set up.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting in their home church, concerned, struggling with this dichotomy, struggling with this departure from reality, trying to figure out how is it that we keep basking in the shadow of a monument that's really not real, acting like everything's all right, and that we're getting blessed on the Lord's day when man transferred a monument that cannot be moved. Monuments represent what people value most. Monuments are erected what they want you to remember the most. Monuments are important, and they speak to the core values and the nitty-gritty stuff that people don't really have the guts to say out loud, but they will let a monument speak.
Come on now. Come on now.
Prophecy does not lie about the timeline of all monuments that we set up. King Nebuchadnezzar figured that out the hard way when he died and his son took his spot. His son came to that reality when he was chilling in the banquet room, drinking out all the Lord's goblets, laughing and talking, when he seen a hand right on the wall, and he asked Daniel, what that say, Roham? Daniel says, you've been weighed and found wanting. And then his life was snatched from him because somebody did not realize that the river had dried up and they crept in under the gate.
That's right.
Well,
So the Greeks rolled in. Alexander the Great was a bad boy, running around the world, taking elephants over mountains through winter territory where they don't really naturally live.
come on now. Come on now.
Conquering everything, but yet he too died from alcohol poisoning because he was not going to live forever. When he died, history tells us that his generals tried to keep it together, but being people, they began to disagree with each other, and they worked against each other, and they were overcome by the great Roman Empire. And now the Roman Empire itself broke apart, giving us this gift of the republic, of this democracy that we have, and we find ourselves all the way down past iron and clay feet, down into toenails, like my father would say, and there is some type of massive rock being cut out slowly but surely, and it's beginning to make its way here. Decide now which monument you will serve. Decide now which monument you will keep.
Yes.
Some monuments pass away, but others stand forever.
Yes. All right.
Temporary monuments.
Yes.
Share that word in love without judgment, just for somebody's well-being. Because the future is certain. God's word is never changing, and that rock is coming.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Lord, thank you for showing us in the Bible. Your word is true. Thank you for revealing to us that when you give us a dream and you interpret the dream, that we can accept it as fact. Father, help everybody in the world who is confused about monuments, about transferring holy days to any other day they want. Help us, Lord, to reconcile these conflicting facts and go and do our research. Help us, Father, give us the patience to share this in love.
Yes. Yes.
Lord, plant a question in their minds. Create a burning desire that cannot be quenched with nothing else but the truth. Draw your people from near and far to you, Lord, so that when your music plays, we can all be found together, bowing down, basking at your throne, tossing and regathering crowns. Father, come and get us.
Oh yes.
Save us from ourselves. Do everything you must, because we're tired and we're ready to go. In Jesus Christ's name, let everybody say, amen.